Have you ever wondered how intermittent fasting affects diabetes? It's a question that's been gaining traction within the health and wellness sphere, as the prevalence of diabetes continues to rise at an alarming rate globally. Intermittent fasting, a dietary practice involving cycles of eating and fasting, is increasingly being explored as a potential solution to this health crisis. On the other hand, diabetes is a chronic condition characterized by high blood sugar levels, often resulting from the body's inability to properly use insulin. It's a disease that affects millions worldwide, impacting their quality of life and overall health. Recognizing the intersection of intermittent fasting and diabetes is vital for those seeking to manage or prevent this chronic condition. It's a complex relationship that requires us to delve into the science of our bodies, how we process food, and how different dietary habits can influence our health. As we delve deeper, it's essential to understand the science behind these concepts. What exactly is intermittent fasting and why has it gained such popularity? Intermittent fasting, as the name suggests, is a pattern of eating that alternates between periods of fasting and eating. It's not about what foods to eat, but rather when you should eat them. It's more of an eating schedule than a diet. There are several types of intermittent fasting, such as the 16-8 method, where you fast for 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window. Another popular method is the 5-2 diet, where for 5 days you eat normally, then for 2 days you limit your calorie intake. Now let's delve into the science behind it. The idea is that during fasting periods, your body has a chance to use up its glycogen stores, which are your body's quick energy reserves. Once these stores are depleted, your body starts burning fat for energy, which can lead to weight loss. Furthermore, intermittent fasting can trigger a process called autophagy, where cells self-cleanse by removing damaged components. It's like your body's system of spring cleaning, and it's thought to help protect against diseases like Alzheimer's and cancer. But what about the benefits? Studies have shown that intermittent fasting may improve insulin sensitivity, boost human growth hormone levels, reduce inflammation, and even extend lifespan. Now that we understand intermittent fasting, let's explore diabetes. Diabetes, a term we hear often, but what does it mean? At its core, diabetes is a chronic condition that affects how your body turns food into energy. It all revolves around a hormone named insulin, produced by the pancreas. Insulin acts as a key, opening your cells to let in glucose, a form of sugar, from the food you eat, to be used for energy. But what happens when this system doesn't work the way it should? Well, there are two main types of diabetes: type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes, often diagnosed in childhood, is an autoimmune condition where the body mistakenly attacks the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. This results in little to no insulin, leading to a buildup of glucose in the bloodstream. On the other hand, type 2 diabetes, the more common type, develops over time. Here, your body becomes resistant to insulin, meaning your cells don't respond as they should. The pancreas tries to compensate by producing more insulin, but over time, it can't keep up. This leads to an excess of glucose in the bloodstream, which can cause a host of health issues. Both types of diabetes can lead to chronically high blood sugar levels, causing damage to your body's organs and tissues. With a grasp on diabetes, we can now examine how it intersects with intermittent fasting. How does intermittent fasting affect diabetes? Let's dive into the science of it. Intermittent fasting impacts our bodies in several ways, but for people with diabetes, the effects on insulin levels, blood glucose, and insulin resistance are particularly significant. Insulin plays a crucial role in the way our bodies use food for energy, and it's particularly important for people with diabetes. When we eat, our bodies break down the carbohydrates in our food into glucose, which raises our blood sugar levels. In response, our pancreas produces insulin, which allows our cells to absorb the glucose and use it for energy. Intermittent fasting changes this dynamic. When we fast, our bodies don't have a constant supply of glucose from food, so they have to start burning stored fat for energy instead. This process produces molecules called ketones, which our cells can use in place of glucose. So what does this mean for insulin and glucose levels? When we're in a fasted state, our insulin levels drop, and our bodies become more sensitive to insulin. This can be beneficial for people with insulin resistance, a common issue for those with type 2 diabetes. Various research studies have explored these effects. For instance, a study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that intermittent fasting improved insulin sensitivity and blood sugar control in participants with type 2 diabetes. However, it's important to note that intermittent fasting isn't without risks. If not done properly, it can lead to low blood sugar or hypoglycemia, which can be dangerous for people with diabetes. Additionally, it may not be suitable for everyone, especially those with type 1 diabetes, who need a steady supply of glucose to avoid diabetic ketoacidosis, a serious condition caused by a lack of insulin. So while intermittent fasting might offer some benefits for people with diabetes, it's essential to approach it with caution and always under a healthcare provider's supervision. Research is ongoing, and there's still much to learn about the relationship between intermittent fasting and diabetes. Intermittent fasting might be a powerful tool in managing diabetes, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. So what have we learned about intermittent fasting and diabetes? Well, we've discovered that intermittent fasting is a pattern of eating that alternates between periods of eating and fasting. It is not about what you eat, but rather when you eat. We've also learned that diabetes is a condition that impairs the body's ability to process blood glucose, commonly known as blood sugar. It can come in two main forms, type 1 and type 2, both of which can potentially benefit from the practice of intermittent fasting. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Intermittent fasting carries its own set of risks, especially for those with diabetes. It's essential to remember that everyone is unique, and what works for one person may not work for another. This is why an individualized approach is crucial when considering intermittent fasting as a tool to manage diabetes. Remember, it's crucial to consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new diet or lifestyle change.